Good afternoon. Thanks for joining me today. Where these videos are going, by the way, they asked me not to title them with days, so I won't say good days, but I can say the afternoon because you could be listening to this in the afternoon, or you could be listening to it in the morning or the evening. But I'm glad you're listening to it. And again, from the bottom of my heart, honestly, the amount of messages I'm getting, mostly on Messenger, is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Welcome to my home, to my terrace on this beautiful, it's not cooler yet, but I hope it's going to cool down soon. Anyway, I'm not here. Every evening I open up and complain about the weather being too hot, and then it'll start getting cooler, it'll be too cold, too cold, too cold. What do you think? I've just had my bonnet done. Is that what you call it? Your bonnet, is it? I don't know what you call it. My hair. My Pepe Moreno had a nightmare, which you'll see after this. Death in the hairdressers. You know, I think I'd rather go to the dentist than I do to the hairdresser. I can't stand, I love Pepe, but I can't stand going to the hairdressers. I'm a child of the 60s, you understand, long hair, all that gear. I'm always terrified he'll cut too much off, and no matter how little he cuts off, I feel, oh geez, he's taken off too much hair. And then when Wendy or the kids or anyone, friends see me, they say, when are you going to get a haircut? When are you going to get a haircut? I've just had a haircut. You're very welcome. Do you know, I thought I'd share with you today, you know, I go on about work and then I come back from work and et cetera, in the evening. And my work, some of you might know, is not just radio or television, but also real estate. I'm with one of the biggest, most successful companies here on the Costa del Sol called Bromley Estates. And you can always look up their webpage. It's renowned, their webpage, and the wonderful offers that they have on all the time. So I'm going to give you a typical day, my working day, and how it works. I get up at about I wake up at about 6:30. I get up at around 7:15. I watch the news, make some notes, etc. And then I say prayers, I do. Might surprise you, some prayers. I go down and I have a shower. I go down and have breakfast and be ready to leave the house around 9 o'clock. So this story I'm going to tell you is I'm doing me Trump again. I don't know why I'm doing that. This story I'm going to tell you is about a particular deal. So, because rather than just talk generally, I'm going to talk to you about certain clients. So what happens is when people phone up Bromley Estates, they get in touch with the TM, the telemarketers. The telemarketers take all the details of what they're looking for, blah, 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 a lot of information about them, etc., and then it goes to the office manager. The main office is managed by a very good friend of mine, Chris. We've been together for 10 years, Chris Barry, and a great guy, I must say. I mean, he won't believe I'm saying this about him because but we're always shouting at each other. But no, I'm very reliant on him in many ways, as we all are. And now we've got other offices and different office managers. Anyway, it goes to Chris. And Chris then decides, looking at the paper, who the tour goes to. And in my case, he looks for the most difficult bloody tours he can get and he gives them to me. But it's true. Anyway, this particular tour came in and they're a lovely family from UK. Now I'm going to give no names here whatsoever. Of course I won't. They might recognize the story. They're staying in a beautiful hotel in Marbella, and this is the normal way. I get the sheet the night before, the day before, or even the week before they arrive, and I can see what they're looking for, and they've already chosen properties they want to see. And we have a system that we can look into all the agencies, more or less all of the agencies here. And if it's not part of the Bromley agency, it doesn't make any difference. We don't mind sharing the deal, which means, in short, whatever the agency might be, we share the commission. The important thing, and the number one and most important thing, is remember to find the bloody property. Don't be worrying about how many bob that you can make and you can't make. Your job is to find that property. And if it means going through another agency and sharing a deal, you should do it. Or certainly I do anyway. So I have the sheet in front of me and I'm taking the particular deal. And they've chosen 3 or 4 properties to see. their spec was that they wanted seaside, not seafront, because that's very expensive, but sea on the beach side, not the other side of the road. And they picked about 3 or 4 properties. So I picked them up, I met them in the hotel, and very, very, very nice people. I'm very lucky, with some of the people, very charming people. And we have what I call a discovery. That means we sit down, we have a coffee, so I can get to get inside of what they're looking for. And I always tell people who are going into this business, one of the most important things in this business is connection. Once you connect with your client, things become much easier because you begin to understand them. You understand not only what they're looking for, but the sort of lifestyle they're looking for, whether they want to be near restaurants, whether they want to be near the hospital for a reason they might be elderly, whether they want to be near the beach side, whether they want to be in certain areas. There's so many areas. You can imagine from Malaga all the way to Gibraltar. You've got Torremolinos, you've got Benalmádena, you've got Fuengirola, you've got then come into Marbella, you've got Elveria, you've got so many areas into Marbella town, coming out of Marbella, then you've got what we call the Golden Mile, brings you to Puerto Banús. From Puerto Banús, we go to San Pedro. You probably don't even know what these areas are, but we try to boil it down to what I call discovery. I normally phone my clients anyway before they leave, and they love me before they even leave. So we go in and we meet them, and I always love that. You're driving down early in the morning to meet new clients, and you're wondering, what do they look like? What do they sound like? What's their style? What age are they? This sort of thing. And I'm always surprised. The ones that sound older always look younger, and the ones that sound younger always look older. So anyway, I meet the clients, and we have the discovery of coffee, and off we go in my car. And sometimes clients follow your car, but I don't like that because I like to chat to them. God love them. Could you just imagine when they're in the car with me? So we go in to see the first property, and then I say, because they're not going to say it. These are such people. Some people are very polite and they don't really. But I try to get them. That's the importance of connecting. I try to get them to open up and say, "Come on, give me the upside and downside. We didn't like the windows, or we didn't like the flooring, etc." So you begin to understand what they're wanting for. These particular clients, the story I'm telling today, I couldn't really find anything. They had quite a big budget. I couldn't really find anything that what I call always the wow factor. Means when they walk in, they go, wow. But they wanted beachside. So I decided that I'll show them something which I like very much, but it's not beachside, it's the other side of the road. Mind you, when I say the other side of the road, in a car, 3 minutes to the beach, or 4 minutes to the beach. So I brought them there. I said, look, guys, I'm really sorry, but at least I want to show you this particular property. And they came in. Wow. They loved it. They loved it. They loved it. All of them. I mean, I'm talking about father, mother, and one of the children. They loved it. 2 of the children. I might say children. They were grown-up children. So I said, fine. The price was within their budget. But it so happens, and I don't like this, the owner was there. So I was with the owner's agent. He was showing me around. And the owner was there. And the agent warned me this. He said that the owner, there's always a side, there's always a catch when you're out in this business. The owner has a friend coming over on Saturday, so this day maybe was Tuesday. And if the friend likes it, he's going to sell it to the friend. And the reason being is normally the agent, the cost to the vendor, to the agency, the buyer, sorry, not the vendor, the buyer, very important, is 5%. So it's a lot of money. But when his friend comes over and he's going to buy it, there's no, obviously, direct to him. And he was coming over on Saturday. I said to my clients, I didn't like this at all. I didn't like this. Was sort of playing a game, I thought. But I said to my clients, offer the full asking price and see if we can get it done then. So they did. They said, no problem. We love it so much. So they offered the full asking price, and still the owner insisted to wait till Saturday. I said, fine. And they really loved it. They would keep saying, God, Maurice, do you think we'll get it? And I said, I hope we'll get it. I hope we'll get it. So meanwhile, we did what's, it's not exactly a contract, it's like a letter of intent, which is all subject to like searches and due diligence. So we did a full contract of an offer contract is the best way to put it. So we had everything in paper. So he knew, his agency got a copy of this. It's all done. So they knew he had a buyer here. But yes, this guy was risking between now Tuesday and Saturday whether we might find something else. He was being, you know, when I say if you got a buyer at the asking price, take it. Anyway, no, he insisted. So it was a bit nerve-wracking. And of course, the mother was going, Maurice, what do you think? I said, look, I can only hope. Saturday at around lunchtime, I got a phone call from the agent, his agent, who said that good news and bad news. I said, really? What's the good news? The good news, his friend is not buying. Really? And what's the bad news? The bad news is he wants to up the price. And I said at that point, stop. Stop. Pick up the phone the owner, and tell him to get lost. I'm not going to be gazumped. I'm not going to play this game. We're out. I never told the buyer this. I'll put the phone down. It must have been about 20 minutes later he phoned me back and he said, okay, okay. And I said to him, I am disgusted. This is no game. We offered the full asking price. He said, okay, okay, okay. He said, right. He'll take the offer. But he said he's got a few friends. I said, don't start with your friends. Nobody has some people. If he has people interested, reject our offer and go running after them. No, no, no. What he wants is he wants the deal closed quickly by the end of the month. And that's 18 days from the minute this is happening. Now, normally when you're buying a property, the lawyer, after you sign the offer contract and it's been accepted, the lawyer will do what's called searches and due diligence to make sure everything's correct, the licenses are all correct, the permissions are all correct, this is correct, that's correct, everything is correct. And that takes about 2 weeks, normally 14 days. And after that, as long as there's no problems, it then goes to completion. And that's normally 2 weeks afterwards, get all the papers in and everything ready. Have them all up. So you're talking about 4 weeks, 30 odd days, 31 days. Let's say 30 days. And that's quite short. Comfortably at 6 weeks. And here he is looking for 18 days for completion. So I said, look, I'll put it to they mightn't have the money. There's a whole load of money. Maybe it's on deposit and it's taken out, you know, when they don't want to break the contracts with the bank, which is on deposit. But I phoned her up, delightful woman. God, I loved her, the mother. I said, well, the wife, the mother, and mother. I said, what do you think? And she said, well, I'll try to see. So she rang me the next day and she said she thinks she can complete within the 18-day period. Not many people carry. I'm not going to talk about how much money, but a considerable amount of money. I'm fine. So I said to him, as long as your lawyer, the vendor's lawyer, has all the right papers, we will try to complete on the date set, the end of the month. This month I'm talking about was August, by the way. This last August, the other day. And then I decided to go to a small, now I normally use a very big company of lawyers here. But I know other lawyers. They're very good, the lawyers here. But I went to another company because it was small and I could put pressure, you know. I'm not an easy guy when it comes to business, I promise you. So I asked the boss of the company, can you do this in 18 days? And she said to me, yes, as long as the vendor's lawyers have all the papers. I said, fine. And she put me in touch with one of the lawyers in her office, who was a young girl in her 30s, ambitious. Oh yes, very ambitious. Spanish girl, but I think she probably lived in England, speaks perfect English. And she worked day and night to get all the papers from the town hall, all the searches, all the due diligence, everything. And the 18th day was the Friday, whatever, 3 weeks ago. And then the 18th day, we completed. So there you are. That's just, you know, is that a typical deal? It is a typical deal. I tell you, a non-typical deal is you pick up a client, they see a property, say, let's go and buy it, you sign it up and it's all done. That's not a typical deal. There's always work to be done. I don't think people appreciate the amount of prepping before a client comes. I don't think they, you know, these properties are all going to be found. The clients have got to be registered with the agent, whoever the other agent might be, unless it's one of our own properties. So they've got to be found. The dates have got to be arranged. Sometimes when everything is arranged, and so let's say the client is coming from England or Norway or wherever, and the client is coming over in 4 days' time, all of a sudden you get a call from one of the agents that you booked the properties for and said, Maurice, we're very sorry, it's sold. So now the tour that goes from 10 o'clock for the first property, 10:45 for the second property, 11:30, 11:15 for the third property, that third property's gone, it's sold. You've got this big gap and you've got to try to fill it with something as nice as that or even better. There's always bits to be done all the time, right up to the time when we're about to go out the night before. Sorry, Maurice, we've just sold the property. We've just sold the property. So that's, you know, it's a very rewarding job. And the other thing I must say about it, there's not many jobs that you can actually get at a certain age that will employ you. I understand that. But here, if you work hard and you know your product, that's a very important thing, to know your product, especially when you're working on the sort of, if you want the higher property deals, the villas, etc., to know your property. And remember what I said, you might be sitting at home now and thinking, well, I'd like to go into an agency. You must be able to connect with the client. Once you have that connection, I promise you, things go well. I promise you. Anyway, there you are. I'm in Bromley Estates, and if you're looking for anything, please give me a call. I'll be delighted to look after you. They're long days, hard days, rewarding days. And what I love about it, I love being with people. Can you imagine every day, well, every day, but during the week, you could meet 3 different families. Maybe have lunch with them, maybe go out for dinner with them in the evening. It's fantastic. I couldn't recommend it enough, but it is hard work. Okay? Anyway, thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that little story.